Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about waterfall charts. Real quick, what's a waterfall chart? Waterfall chart is basically in a visualization. It's like a bar chart, right? You want to look at differences from points in time. So let me give you an example. Let's say sales. You want to compare sales from one year to another. Well, a, a lot of stuff has happened between point A to point B, right? You want to know what's happened between those points of comparison and isolate the different kind of events or components that lead up to the performance of that um, end comparison. So let's think about it this way. Think of a corporate finance job or an accounting job. You close out the month, you want to take a look at how your sales are doing, how your net sales are doing after you take care of expenses or in costs. You may be familiarized with a waterfall chart, right? Let's say, for instance, it's August 21st. Say we're finishing up the month of July. We take a look at how July is done and how it's performed year over year to the year back in 2022. Well, you want to look at gross sales, you want to look at expenses, look at costs, but you also want to break down that change, right? You want to see how have expenses performed compared to last year. How have sales performed to last year? So by looking at those little components, those events between what makes up your performance, your net sales, you're able to isolate and drill down to those necessary components that are driving the overall variance of that performance. So, for instance, let's take a look at yearly comparisons, right? Say we want to look at how sales have performed over a given year. Well, in that situation, that scenario, your components can be those months, right? Look at how it's done as of January to the end of the year in December. Every one of those months, if seasonal, act differently, right? And you can kind of pinpoint which month to drill down that has either upticked the variance or downticked the variance. So let's take a look at this Tableau worksheet, right? Um, for the sake of this scenario, we'll use the Superstore data set, the orders sheet. I want to do a really quick waterfall chart, and just to show you how easy it is. So what I want to do is I want to look at first the calculations I created beforehand. All right. So I created these calculations here. So look at this one. Year A total sales. All I'm doing is a level of detail calculation, excluding subcategory, because that is what I want to choose as the cohort of choice. Look at how sales have performed by subcategory compared to overall. So as of this moment, I want to exclude subcategory and then take a look at sales for the year that's equal to the parameter year. So I created two parameters, year A and year B. Ultimately, because I want the user to have the opportunity to select year A versus year B and see how that's changed, right? So I did that for year A total sales. I also did that for year B. I'll show that to you right here. Using those formulas, I then created another calculation called year change. Just year B minus year A. Then I also created a percentage change. I took the year change and I divided that by the total of the year change variance. So that I'm able to identify a percentage attribution of that total variance. And I also created some labels here, year A total, so just the parameter, and the same for year B. Okay, here are my parameters, year A and year B. Notice how that I just took the year display from the order date. So I formatted it as year only, and these are going to be my values that are displayed. When you first set up your parameter, it's going to show a bunch of duplicates, but once you hit OK, it'll only show a unique list, just as a FYI. Okay, so now let's build, right? Let's build our chart. I'm going to take the year change. I'm going to bring that here to the rows pane. I'm also going to bring in the subcategory. I'm going to go ahead and show my parameters now. Notice how the default values show up. So as of right now, it's looking at year change from 2014 to 2015. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to take a running total. I am going to sort this, descending. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to change this to a Gantt chart. Check that out, right? Then I'm going to take that same year change value, that measure, from the measure values pane here. I'm going to drop it here on the size of the Gantt. Check that out. Look at that, right? But the one thing that seems kind of funky to me, so you have to fix it up a bit, right? You have to kind of play with the value. So we're going to make this a negative value. And the reason we're doing that, let me show you, okay? So if I do negative, I'm going to go back to my sort, and I'm going to do this descending based on year change. So check this out. The reason we did that negative sizing is because I want to be able to show negatives going down. Because think of this as like a variance builder, right? Throughout all these components, which are subcategories, we're building up the variance. In this situation, you could tell from year A to year B, we have a really good significant amount of increase in sales, right? So now let's add some more color to this year change. We're going to drop this to the color. That's going to change this to a diverging color palette. I'm just going to do a real simple one. Red, blue. We'll step it at 2. And we'll make the center 0. So check that out. It's a red. It's going down because there's a negative variance of 12,362 for the subcategory of machines. So that's the beginning portion of your Gantt. However, I want to go a little bit deeper, right? I want to be able to show the level. So I want to be able to show the level, right? Let's say, for instance, year A is 2014. So let's say 2014 is around right here, right? And then 2015 is right around here. So a noticeable increase. But I want to be able to show that this same kind of buildup that you're seeing on the screen here, but starting at the level of sales for year 2014. So I have to adjust a bit because it starts at 0. So that year A total sales, I'm going to bring that in here just to kind of show you what that looks like. So let me get rid of this. I'll get rid of this. I'll change this back to a bar. And then notice how, since we have the exclude level of detail calculation, excluding subcategory, I can now see what total sales are for 2014 overall. But I want this change to occur on the top here. So, very simple. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a duplicate of this pill. All I'm going to do is hit Control and then drag this over here. I can get rid of this now. And then here, I'm going to add the starting point of those sales plus some year A total sales. I'll do the same one here plus some year A total sales. All right, cool. So now you can see how the Gantt's kind of jumped up to that level. Now I'm going to go back to, let's see, the one without the color. I'm going to change this back to bar. And I'm going to do is a dual axis chart. Basically, I'm going to overlay the Gantt on top of this chart. Synchronize your access. Now, I'm going to put this behind the Gantt. Would you look at that? So now you can actually see the buildup of sales. And then notice how it goes back down. So the red is representative of the sales actually decreasing because of that attribution of bad performance to the machine's subcategory. All right, I don't need these headers anymore. Okay, I want to add the percentage change to the tooltip. So if I go to the tooltip, you can see we have some further context. We have subcategory phones, year change 26,000, and a percentage change allotment of 21% of the total change for that year-to-year comparison. I'm going to format this percentage here in the pane to percentage. Let's do one decimal place. There we go. Let me clean this up a bit. Let me make this centered alignment. I want to actually still show the parameter comparison. So I'm going to do insert parameter year A versus parameter year B. I'm going to make this stand out a bit, make that 20. Make this 20. And then let's make my labels italicized. Look at that. That's cool, right? I don't need to have the bar chart information there. So I'm going to go to tooltip on the bar chart and just delete it all so that the only thing that appears is that comparison right there. Okay, so I want to build my bookmarks, right? I want to build my bookmarks to the waterfall chart. So real quick, let's do year A total sales. I'm going to add that year A total label. Change this to a bar. Make that entire view. And then year B. Real cool. Okay, so now I'm going to create a quick dashboard. We're going to do a horizontal layout container. I'm going to add the middle part, which is the waterfall change. Let me bring this back up here. Okay, take away the title. Now I can add year A just to the side here. Take away the title. Let me add year B over here. All right, check that out. So notice what I really want to see is I want whatever the height is here to be kind of equal to the gray portion here, so that it adds a very smooth transition from that level to the year comparison level, whether it's an increase or a decrease. So this is where you can help me. Of course, I'm still learning, but if you have an idea out there, please let me know on how to make it more dynamic to better align it, right? So let's see. Here's what I did for the meanwhile, just to kind of make sense and to kind of basically make it more static, I guess you could say, or more aligned. Obviously, I'd like to have a more dynamic resolution or hack to this, but I don't know it at the moment. So if you all know and can help me out, I would greatly appreciate that. Okay, so here's what I did to kind of make it more aligned. I took a year tabular table by year of sales. Notice how the max is 733. So I'm just going to create a ceiling on the axis of 800,000. That's all I'm going to do. So let me go back to here. Show the header. Remember, they're synchronized, so you only got to change one. And I'm going to do a fix at the end. 800,000. And then the same for this one. And year B. Go back to that dashboard. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here. Get rid of the headers, the axes. Let's see, maybe make this bigger. There we go. Perhaps, let's see, do that. Do that. Get rid of the header. Header. Okay. Notice I can actually format this to make it bigger, make it stand out based on your selection. Make that 20. There we go. Format. All right, notice how it's a lot more aligned. Starts here, then you see your increases and decreases back to the state or the level of the comparison year. Let's add some more filters. Obviously, we don't need the red and blue legend. It's kind of redundant. You kind of have an idea of what red and blue indicate. I'm going to create a horizontal object here, bring in my parameters so that they look more aligned to the year bar charts. I'm also going to bring in additional filters. So I'll bring in region. And I'll also bring in a category. And I'll apply this to the other two worksheets that we're actually using. So let's see, 7 and 8. Same one for the category. 7 and 8. Back to dashboard. Now I can actually bring in the filter that I added. Read category. Region. I'm going to put that in the middle right there. Makes the parameters kind of more aligned right here to the sides. I'm going to make these multiple value drop downs. There we go. So now you can kind of play around with it, right? You can use the filters. You can dig into categories, regions. So real quick, let's look at 2012 versus 2015. We see flat for most of these machines here, but some noticeable variances here. Let's say I wanted to look at just specifically the West region. Look at that. And let's say West region and furniture. There we go. Interesting. Okay, let me get rid of the header. So notice how I need some formatting here. So I'll probably have to kind of play around with it, do some static kind of formatting, making sure the widths are aligned, making sure the heights are aligned, making sure it never changes. I may have to change the headers to the fonts to be the same as the subcategories so that they rarely change. So if I get rid of that filter, here we go. All right, so this is kind of bothering me real quick. Back down to 10. Back down to 10. All right, so notice how real quick, simple, created a Gantt chart, made a running total. I applied the same measure on the rows to the sizing. I flipped the sign on the sizing so that you can actually see the movement of the change. And then I sorted it by descending. Then I went a little bit extra further, and instead of just having the little Gantt pieces going up to the year B total, I also added the year A total sales, but I added that along with the year change. So every subcategory you go to, you have your year A sales plus the actual change so that it kind of matches up to what you have at the end. Real quick, real simple. You can do this with lots of things, subcategories. You could do it. You could have done it with just region. You could have done it with just category, or you could just look at sales overall from one year to the next, and then break it out by months. So real quick, I like this because you can immediately see where you need to go. If you're in charge of sales in this data set, I want to go here and look at machines. I want to just bring in machines and look at the machines by region, see what's going on, what year was the worst. So real quick to identify where you can investigate further. And that, my friends, is a Gantt chart into a waterfall chart. Hope you all enjoyed it. And if you all enjoy it, please subscribe, like this video, take a look at my other stuff. Um, if you have an idea on how to make the axes more dynamic, please let me know. Again, I'm still learning, and I hope you enjoyed this little kind of walkthrough on how to make a waterfall chart. Take a look at my ralphsdataworld.com blog, and let me know what you think. All right, take care. Bye.